Hey, I'm live. All right. So hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm going off a different microphone. I'm trying the array one that's on my that guy. Maybe we'll try a couple different microphones. Here we go. So, anyways, today we are canning tomatoes. That's what's happening. I know it's been a while since I've seen you. I haven't been live in like a minute. It's been a while, and that's on me. I've been working on getting a lot of my business stuff kind of squared away. So that has been the number one piece here, just kind of getting this squared. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm up here. Live. Oh, all right. Says I'm not live. So hopefully you guys can hear me. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So really where we're at today is I've got just a bunch of canning to do. My wife got she has a cleaning job, just a little side job that she does for some of the elderly folks in the area. So she got paid in tomatoes for at least for the down payment. So I've already canned some for this year. I was getting ready to do my next set. So I just pushed it off to the right a little bit. So that way I could get them canned at the same time as well. So that's what we're doing here. I got, I don't know, it's not too much. I maybe have a bushel. It's not a huge amount of tomatoes, but I'm going to be putting them into some quart jars and then some half pint jars. I kind of got a little mix here, mainly just because, it's just me and the wife for the most part, and we don't really need quarts typically of tomatoes. So I try to use the smaller jars, but I'm running out of those. And I want to, some of the quart stuff also, they're going to be set aside for when we're doing their chili and some other things. So that's where we're at today. So I'm going to give you guys an idea what I'm working on here. I'm going to move this out of the way. Keep that there. So the process that we're going to be working on today is the standard one. I've got some boiling water here. I've got my first round of tomatoes that are have been washed and cleaned, kind of somewhat picked apart. And then I've got maybe one more thing. I just realized. Get the last thing out here. One more little bowl. Where's it at here? I think I got to figure out something. That doesn't work. I'll just use this guy for now. Okay. Oh, come here, you. Stay on me. There we go. So anyways, they've been cleaned. So they're going to come in here. Got boiling water here, which I can just drop on the low. Some cooler water to shock it afterwards. Here's going to be prep. And then we'll be filling up one of these bad boys. And then get the canning, then get everybody boiling and doing their thing. So, it's just that time of year. You work hard in the garden to get stuff ready to go. And, it's just where we're at. So we put the spurs to it here and get it rolling. Again, for those that don't know, this is, it's Friday morning here. I'm a business coach. I work in my local area. Actually, you know what? After I get these guys out, I'll check my battery life here. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a little more battery going. So, anyways, I'm a business coach, and what I do is, and gardening is what I do. Is my hobby. That's what I do on the side. And I like to come live here. Typically, I do it on my on shorts, but I've had more folks have asked me if I can start doing it over here. So I'm going to do it. And yeah, so for those of you who are in the business side of things, wondering like, what the heck, why is this guy doing gardening stuff? Just understand that the gardening folks always ask the same question. What the heck is this gardening guy doing with business videos? That's a little bit of both. So, all right, so let's see. For me, yep. So big deal here is after you boil them, you shock them in the water, right? And that's so we can get these skins off here, right? Now these skins I'm saving because I'm going to be dehydrating them. That's what we're going to be doing with that. So as we get them, I will be dehydrating those and turning those into like a seasoning. So when you shock them, the skins, especially when they're right, pop right off. So you put them in some hot water, then throw them in some cold water to shock them. That's the deal. That's kind of the first start of the process here. So I've got some nice boiling water here, getting them going. And we're going to process. I want to do enough to get to fill up my entire stock pot here. That's the plan. That's what we're doing. So Yeah, it was a nice surprise when the wife came to the house and she's like, "Hey, I have some tomatoes. They wouldn't let me leave without them." So she's not from the Midwest, so that's something she doesn't quite. She doesn't. It's a learning experience for her that, hey, oh wow, these folks, they're not going to let me leave unless I take, always take something. They're always going to give you something when you go, which I love that part about the Midwest. You can't just leave. You show up to somebody's house, especially again for the older folks there, they're going to make sure that you leave with something because they, always have a little extra. So you want to make sure folks have something to go. All right. So again, as we're just kind of making our way down here. Now, this year was not a good year in my garden. I can just say that, and it's been for the most of us who have home gardens here. We did not have good years in our gardens. We had really weird weather, hot spells with dry spells, with cold spells, with wet. It was no consistency. So depending on where you're at or what you're trying to grow, it did not. It didn't do too well. All that being said, what I wanted to test out was the yield that I get. I'm in 6B. That's with the new zones here, the new zones as well. So I'm in 6B here in Michigan, where I'm at. We're right by the Lake Michigan. And what I wanted to check was how well my indeterminate tomatoes were going to do. And they did okay. They did okay. I've got a new system for them, and I tested a bunch of different types that I just wanted to see how they would do. So, and they did good. They did good. I mean, not great. My yields were, they weren't what I wanted. However, they did what I expected them to do, I guess is really what I'm trying to say. Considering the season that we had, everything we were up against. So I'll take that. That I will consider a W in my book. Okay. So just kind of making my way through here. And again, as I'm going, now when you're looking at your tomatoes, one of the things you're looking at is you definitely want to make sure you get any sort of yuck. You don't want tomatoes getting in here and having a yuck. Like, that's important. And yuck is however you want to define it, but for me, it's just dark spots. Dark spots, anything that looks like blight. There might be some disease. We're not trying to have that here. So there we go. Now for me, this is something I did when I was growing up a little bit. My grandma would do most of the canning in the household, and I'd go help her out. So it's always fun to be able to come back in and relive some of these memories good memories I had with her. But with that, just basically doing a rough dicing on these. I don't need anything that's too crazy. Really just want to make sure that I'm going to get a good fill. That's what you're trying to get when you are dicing and cutting it up, that you'll get a good fill into the cans, into the jars, I should say. And again, for this, when you're doing tomatoes, there's a couple things that I'm going to be doing here as well. I've got before we get started, obviously I'm just kind of getting prepped here. You'll see the process, but if you've never done any canning before, it seems like it's intimidating. It's not. It's really straightforward. You just got to follow the rules. Like, that's a big thing. You're literally putting stuff in, to keep yourself safe. But, I would say start with tomatoes. They're easy to grow. We use them in everything. They're good vitamin C and all the other stuff that we want to have. Close a little closer so I'm not reaching as far. But you don't have to use pressure canning. You can literally just use standard heating, your standard boiling method. So it's not as intimidating to do. Man, these tomatoes are ripe. I'm glad they sent these over. They're saying this is going to be, we'll have enough for, with this in the last round that I did, I have enough for, it'll probably get me through most of the winter into the summer, which is fine because I've got my greenhouse. For those that have followed along before, been with me during any of my stuff, that I spend quality time out in my greenhouse during the winter. And this year I'm upping the insulation that we're doing. It's actually, I'm going to be adding some pretty significant insulation to the northeast and west portions of my greenhouse. So you definitely want to follow along for that if you're interested to see what that's going to look like. I've got some. What's the word I'm thinking for here? We're going to use some. I've got some OSB, and we're going to be using some. Oh gosh, I've got some foam insulation. We're going to be setting up in there. And I've already got a heater in there, but yeah, so this last year, and it worked out really well. I mean, overall, the greenhouse, I will say, it was a success. I had some learning curve issues I had to kind of get through. So anyways, here's what we're looking for. I mentioned the darker stuff. You can see how this is what we were stuck with because of the way that we'd get a lot of rain, we'd get heat, we get back and forth, and you get some of the splitting, right? So we don't want any of that ending up in the jars. So we're going to make that stuff disappear. Okay. But with that, we're just going to cut this one completely down and make it go away. But what we're doing here as far as boiling, right? So we can get these skins off. Now, if you haven't done this before, you end up with saving the skins and dehydrating them. Man, that's good stuff. It's really good. You get this nice, basically it just adds light tomato flavor to anything you want. It's pretty delicious. But yeah, and that's the other thing, just getting used to, setting up how we're actually doing our canning or the garden here at 6B, especially with the climate changing the way it is. We're just not, things are different. What we're having to grow and the types of plants we're having to grow is different. Last year, all my sunflowers did great. This year, now, I mean, I will say they didn't do too great. I still had some that were pretty good, but most of the reason that was bad is the mice were brutal in my garden this year. They were eating everything. So I'm going to have to combat that next year, which is fine. I've got a plan. We will be, as far as them, the plan will be every single plant that I'm putting in is going to have a basically a little plastic cover. So I'm going to be saving all of my plastic, anything plastic jars and stuff I could just put over the top of them to protect them that way. But this guy, you don't look you don't look like good eats. We are not going to have you in there. There you go. So this is the other reason that we do all this is we're shocking them, right? So we're putting these tomatoes into the boiling water and then come over to this colder water just to kind of chill them out, literally and figuratively. Until then, we just want them in the boiling water here just for a second in order to loosen up the skins. Like that's the idea. Doing here. So I've got these. These are. They gave me some Roma tomatoes. Like I got a little bit of everything in here. It's pretty funny. They grew a little bit of everything. They weren't just all canning tomatoes. Got some Romas and some other stuff, which is fine. That's the other thing too is you're going to find some tomato varieties that are going to work for you. Always be experimenting. You never know which one's going to be good, but also you don't really want to have the same tomatoes growing. Oh, oops! Get in here, you. You're not ready yet. You don't want to have the same varieties growing time and time again. You're going to have success with them, but that's where you get disease. That's the other spot also. Be looking to where you can rotate your tomatoes where they're at. And that's what I did this year. Man, did I ever land. I landed on a really good spot. Like everything was right. Everything was good. If we would have had the summer like we wanted, it was a cooler summer, which, saved on some energy bills. But when you're where we're at, we're expecting to get hot weather. And now, of course, it's September and it's, a solid, I think it's going to be 90 today. I'm in northern Michigan. Like, okay, whatever. I mean, we'll take it. I mean, I'd much rather be hot like this than be hot like this and cold. I mean, that's just me. I just feel 1,000,000% better when I'm around heat. When I was in the military and lived like in Guam and Hawaii, oof, Much better. Left it there. All right. Okay, continue on here. And as I was saying, for you guys to see, I am just dicing away at these, making them into manageable chunks. Like that's the goal. Manageable chunks. Now, one thing I didn't do, and I did this time, which I definitely needed to do, I should have remembered, was my gloves here. I was touching tomatoes like all day the other time, and that's not really a good plan. It's not very smart. And the main reason for that is these are nightshades. Especially like me, where I have inflammation issues and things like that. So I was pretty well. Let's just say I could tell I was handling nightshades all day for the next couple days. I felt pretty rough. But, is what it is. Learning lessons. Big thing on this is I'm just trying to get these guys into workable portions so that when I get them into the actual jar themselves, the jars themselves, they're going to, let's say compact them, but they're going to be in a space that'll work better for filling. You don't want to over dice them, because if you're trying to make soup, then make soup. If you're trying to have dice, then over dice them. Like make them a little bit bigger than you think they'll be. You right there? Bonnie, what you doing? What are you guys doing? And my pups over there running around. What are you guys doing? Huh? You guys being silly? Okay, on to our next round of tomatoes here. These have already been pre-washed, so you can see what we're working with here. Got a bunch of, these are a bunch of Romas, like those. I did some San Marzanos this year, and overall, it was kind of disappointing. You guys want to go outside? Okay, come on. There you go. Go on. Big booty fruit. Okay, so I let my pups in. Anyways, so I had some San Marzanos, and some of them turned out great, and a lot of them were undersized. Like I think it's just the type of weather we were up against today for this year. Just wasn't wasn't conducive for what we wanted. So let's get these guys in here. Oh yeah, these are all nice and ripe. Nice and ripe. You can just tell with the skins. They're like, and I probably don't even need to do this with most of them. As far as prepping them like this. But yeah, good day today. Good day. Let's see here. Yesterday I signed for my business. It was nice. I signed for a building. Basically, I'm purchasing a building in the next town over. I'm pretty excited about that. I just put a little video about that out. If I can get these out, I'm gonna pull that guy in. Yeah, I'm gonna plug you in so make sure that my battery doesn't run out. Just gonna do this. Okay, real method of the madness with the. I'm gonna change up the gloves too. Really sweaty. Sorry about that. Just gonna get some power going here, guys. Need more power. Sorry about the mic. When I set this up, I didn't have my mic input, and then it didn't want to recognize it. It's the usual boohoo Ryan that I think did, last minute thing I kind of figured out doing this, so it's all right. Gonna help it out a bunch. Just right here. Okay. Looking good. So. All right. Just making sure we're actually there to check one more thing. Sorry. Then we're getting right back to it. I know, a little bit boring right now. I apologize. there will be some entertainment coming on here shortly. But this is the time of year, right? I mean, to be honest, though, this is the time of year where we're getting to reap everything that we sowed, or stuff, everything we planted. It's good. This is what we want to be. What we should be doing is, enjoying our harvest, right? In this case, harvest is down payment from some my wife's cleaning stuff, but still is what it is. Matter of fact. Okay, there we go. I think I might be dehydrated a little bit too. I don't know. We'll see. All right, back at it. So I've got my tomatoes here again. Aromas. You guys to see. I know it's kind of hard. So this camera is designed to obviously stay on me. I don't know how much you guys need to see me slicing through tomatoes and pulling it off. I will give you guys the goods. See? Tomato skins coming off every now and again. Just make sure you can see it. But yeah, so this is our second year in the house. We are out here living our best life. It's kind of nice. Since we moved back here from Maine, back to Michigan, man, I just been busy. I got the backyard is all taken care of. Oops, got that backwards. Again, garden is all set. I got the backyard looks really great. It just came together. I put a whole bunch of perennials out in the back. I may just do a little live video about walk people through that while I was setting it up, because there were people that were stopping by while I was doing my work. It was pretty funny. Everybody telling me, drink some water, Ryan, you're sweating too much, which was true. I was, to use a terrible turn of phrase, I was sweating like a whore in church. It was pretty rough, which I never understood that phrase, by the way. Jesus was cool with the prostitutes. He even mentions it in the Bible, but I digress. So we're just working our way through here. This should be, probably going to be at least 1.5, if not two full rounds of this container today. That's what I think I'm going to be doing. That's what I think. We'll see how the math works out. All right, let's do some more. Onto this spot here. So again, over here, I've got my boiling water. Make sure you're always safe, right? No reason to get scalded. Just take your time. Let the maters do what the maters are going to do. Like I said, just keep your eyes open. Make sure you don't get anything. Basically, in the day, what you're doing is you are making sure, again, you're inspecting the tomatoes over here, and then they're going in the water here, which is 100% to get the skins off. But two, it's also helping to sterilize the skins. Really, all you're doing is looking for 30-ish seconds or so. Not too long. Ooh, this is a big beefy boy. Got a big old beefsteak tomato there. Oh man. Oh, I got this guy. I may just go straight to this with it. I'll pull these guys out and drop him back in. Go. Again, I'm just trying to cool him off, and I change out the water that I have in here. I'm gonna do it after this one, so it just stays cool. I don't need to have ice in there or anything. But you can see when you do it, and you got your nice fresh tomatoes, the skin just comes right off. And like I said, I'm saving all the skins on this. We're going to dehydrate those today. Once I'm done here, all those are going to go into my dehydrator and let those spin for a while. All the tomato parts that I don't use per se, like there's some parts of the tomatoes, like I'm just cutting the tops off. I'm not too worried about just coring them. That's all going to go into my more skin. Yay. Right in the compost. Now my compost, I've been staging my compost a little bit different plan than I normally do, so it can do its composting thing over the winter. I've got, oh gosh, 4 pallet-sized sections, basically sections within where I do my composting, and I've been using wood chips and some others and grass clippings and my yard stuff, kind of just all set it aside without really pushing it, without letting it get too wet. So put the wood chips in with the grass. It pulls the moisture out, but it still keeps the grass green, so you keep some of the nitrogen and everything. And I've got it all mixed in and stabilized. Just waiting for me to mix everything back up. Again, more skin here to mix everything back up and add some water and get it going that way. So like that's the plan. I'm going to have 4 full things of compost rolling this winter, just kind of there. So that way in March when I wake it up, I'm going to have a ton of compost for my entire garden. So today my cover crop seeds get here. Those are going to go in some water, and I'm going to set those aside, have those be ready to go for planting. Basically, I'm just going to go sow them all probably Sunday. I'm just going to put them in there for a full day, just let them soak, and then just go from there. Be nice. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for this weekend. We do have the festival, the autumn festival in the next town over. My business partner, Lisa, has been working her tail off to get her coffee shop ready. And I'm excited. So we're going to stop in there and visit with people, and they're coming in. It's going to be nice working with her with that as well. It's been enjoyable spending time working on, that type of startup thing. So I've got that. I've got all the paperwork in for my building. So really, that's kind of done. I'm just honestly waiting for the appraisal to come back and waiting for that appraisal to come back. Really just to get to the point for the title company to do its thing so I can close. Then I'll start working with the city, get all my permits and everything done, because there's no real work being done. It's already set up as offices. So I've already got the business LLCs and everything. Had those since last year when I wanted to do this, but the building where I was going to do just wasn't the right fit. The math didn't work. The math didn't math. And as a business coach, it'd be pretty dumb if I didn't use my own stuff that I help my clients with to make sure that the math, right? So, but now, again, it's all about finding the right opportunity. That's where I do talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. They're so busy. I just got to do something. Well, that's fine. You can, but it's not a business decision. You got to be able to make business decisions if you want to start a business. And part of that is being able to evaluate your opportunity costs and everything else. And for this case, I have to have a space that, one, I can set up my office in, get out of the house here, which is fine. It's not like I need to get out of the house, but it'd just be nice to have a business address where I can move a bunch of my stuff. So it's not just sitting in a, little 10 by 12 room or 8 by 12 room. I think it's 10 by, I think I'm 10 by 12 in my bedroom. That's my office. We're just going to get a little bit larger space, which would be nice. 2, that's going to give me the idea here, right? So I've got this business space that all of these, which is a co-working space, right? So I've got entrepreneurs who are going to be coming in, buying office space, and so they can run their business. Well, lo and behold, guess who is their landlord? Business coach. So I'm hoping, that's the theory at least, I should be able to farm some clients out of this as well too, which is ultimately what I want. Ultimately the idea. Sorry, my dogs are out there just being silly. I might end up actually just getting all of this into one pot here. That'd be great. Just do this all at once. That would be preferable. So I'm trying to do this step a bunch of times. All right. So this is the fun part, right? Yay. All this work so we can have our own fresh tomatoes, right? And our own stuff that we made. That's the part about it that I love about this, about having a garden. This is my stuff. I know exactly what went into these. You know what happened with them? Can't beat it. Can't beat it. All right, give me my next set. No, I don't think I'm going to let this guy in. So this is one I'm not going to let in. You see this here. So I got that black spot on there. But I will eat it. I will eat it, but it's not going, I'm not going to be canning it. I just don't trust that black spot where it's at. It'll be fine to eat, but not for canning. And that's just because, and with that canning, I got my cucamelons. Those are going to be, or as far as for cooking, it's going to be my cucamelons. All right, now that takes care of the down payment stuff. Here's all my maters. Here's some tomatoes from my garden. So I've got some, I got the San Marzanos here, Roma, and then 90-day. These are like a 60-day hybrid, just a little slicing tomato. Deep down in there, I got some beef steaks too. So those will be good. That's nice. Okay. And when the tomatoes are good and ripe, which these ones are, mine are still a little bit early, but I'm getting them in. I'm going to can them up. I don't want to do this again. The skin's split and they basically come off without having to do too much work, which is what I like. Ooh, let's see here. So this is tomato sans skin. That's what we're shooting for. And here, see like this little cherry tomato they popped in, this little guy? Skin just comes straight off. Zoink. Zoink. There it is. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So that's boiling again. Cool. So yeah, we got a busy. No, it's not a busy weekend. I've just got a weekend of stuff here. Like I said, my business partner Lisa, she's gonna be introducing her store, her coffee shop to the world tomorrow. I'm excited for that. And then, and I think I'm gonna adjust this. I'm gonna adjust this down. I don't want to keep moving. You know what I mean? It's nice that it keeps me in frame and everything, but we're gonna adjust. So I've got this OSB camera. It's a full 4K deal for street. Nope. Where'd it go? Come here, you. That lets me make adjustments. So we are going to get my tracking. Whoa, lower body. What the heck? Okay, that is not what I wanted. Upper body. Normal tracking. Yeah, that was awkward. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to bring you down. Right about there. Okay, there we go. All right, then let me get another pair of gloves here. You're just out there chilling. That's good. Oh, man. I should have made some. I should have made some tea. I'm pretty upset. That was pretty silly of me not to have tea ready to go. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and frankly, I'm gonna fill this thing all the way up with tomatoes here. I think that's the plan. Yeah, we'll do that. I think that's gonna be all right. Okay, so there's that. We'll just see how many jars I can fill up here. I'm not sure. This will be exciting to see if I'm going to be able to fill up all of my tomato or all my quart jars. We'll see. So just kind of get started here. These guys, get you off. Kind of get off there, you. There we go. And here. All right. Now, because these are not as ripe, it's gonna be a little tougher for the skins to come off here. Oops. Like that, I do know is gonna be a thing. So we're going to have to, well, for some of them, not for all though, some of them that skin's splitting just fine. Okay. So it's just going to be kind of, just going to keep an eye on it here and see how it goes. So yeah, we are, let me get this off. I can't see the chat here, guys. Sorry. Not that anybody's chatting with me, but good to see everybody here. Again, for those just joining, I am canning up some tomatoes here that we got. Some of it was down payment for my wife after some work she did. We're just kind of in the process here. And we're here currently taking off all of the tomato skins, which is an important piece of this, obviously. And I'm saving all the tomato skins up. Gonna throw them in my dehydrator. That's what's gonna be. That's what's up with that. We're gonna send those for a spin through my grinder, and that tomato, all these tomato skins, they're gonna end up being a great little seasoning just to add to, you know, different things, chicken, whatever you have. Just throw a little tomato flavor on them. Just very light tomato flavor. It's good stuff. So yeah, lots of goodness there. Now, for some of you who this may be popping up on your feed saying, why in the heck am I watching? You're a business dude. Why are you doing this? I do both. You know, again, it's just something to keep in mind. Anybody who's hopping on here saying, I thought you were a business guy. And I'm like, I am. But I also have hobbies where I have my garden. That's kind of important to me. I have my garden. But, you know, this is everybody, you should have hobbies. Obviously, hobbies are super important. And I like the type of hobbies that I can feed myself and my family. Well, the wife, really. Once kids come by the house, you know, my mom will probably need some tomatoes during the winter as well. So that's what I like about this stuff too. These are all fresh tomatoes that we made. We grew them myself. Let's see how this guy looks. This is a junior. Oh, look at this one. Look how pretty this one is. Look at that jeweled one. Yum. Let's get these skin off here. Such tender skin on it too. My goodness. It's basically translucent. There's this skin on this tomato is really just non-existent. It's pretty cool. We're just going to kind of pull off as much as I can. All right, just leave it at that. Okay, so I got some. Get the big tomato out of there. Yeah, the slicer was, oh my goodness, so good. All the goodness in it. Now, you do your best. You want to get all the skins off. Obviously, they don't really taste all that good when they're stewed and canned, and you know, that's one of the things when they're making stew and where they're trying to basically make stuff at the house, folks don't think about is you've got to get the skins off on your tomatoes where you're cooking. Wow, these guys are all nice and bright. My goodness. Juicy, 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 juicy. I got stuff going everywhere. But that's one of the reasons, again, why we take them off. When you're cooking, you're making sauces. When you are, these are going to be basically canned diced tomatoes. So I'm adding these into chili, which in a somewhat related, but mostly unrelated note, my friend of mine is their daughter. Gonna add some more water into this thing. Should be out this weekend getting my deer. You know, she likes to go out and kill deer. I like to eat deer. So that's kind of our agreement. I pay for her license. They do the youth hunting. She gets to go out and youth hunt, go whack some deer. I get my freezer filled. We're gonna be doing lots of venison chili this winter. Do some other stuff too. Now, because we've got some. So with that, I've been watching a lot of Japanese cooking. Lately. I'm thinking, especially some of the stuff that they use, will be in venison. Is a nice basically it'll be a nice corollary to that. Use your words, Ryan. You know what I mean? I think it'll be pretty cool. So I think I'll be able to use it that way. All right. some more water to you, bud. You are low. Just have some a bit more spurs to it again. Let it warm up. Got to check on some emails here. Please don't mind. Love it. Just kind of cruising along here today, just double checking in with my clients, make sure there's nothing I'm missing. I'm not, thankfully. All right, we'll get back to it. Once these guys warm up, just got to get back to boiling. So we're doing pretty good. I've got about, I think I'm just going to be able to actually fill this thing up one time today, which is nice. So just to kind of talk through the next steps here as we're going, I've got the last of the tomatoes to process here, right, to get them into this. Then I've got this monstrosity back here, which will hold 7 or 8 of my half pints and then 4 quarts. So we're going to have this guy up front here is going to move to probably this one. And we're going to start canning and go through the process of canning tomatoes. But before then, you know, obviously I got to finish processing, and then we got to go through and sterilize the, you know, our equipment again. And we'll talk about some of the little tips and tricks that are out there to be able to help you as well, because I got all of my lids sitting in here. We're going to do something with those right before it's time. So yeah, we've just been going along, and then I think I'll keep you guys on while I'm setting this up with all my skins, right? All these skins are going to go into my dehydrator, which that's not a skin. That's a, yeah, we've got to go through them again, but these are all into my dehydrator. They're going to make a great seasoning. Bonnie, you a good girl. So that's going to be great. Oh, man. Doing our thing today. Come on, let's go. Ooh. Gotta text the wife something real quick. Okay, sorry, I know I'm not talking much here, folks. Apologize. Just had to get something to the wife. She's out at the grocery store, and I just wanted to make sure she grabbed something. Okay, so anyways, I'm back here with my tomatoes. We're just waiting on this to get boiling again. I had to add some more water to it. This has been coming out as we've been going through the process here. And so we can finish processing these. I got, you know, half of this done. So yeah, that's really where we're at. I hope you're having a good day. Appreciate you stopping by the stream today. I know it's a little quiet day. Fridays are always a little quiet on the streams here, especially midday like this. Folks are not normally hitting the YouTube or, you know, hanging out here. So I definitely appreciate y'all stopping by. Yes, and this is the thing I talk to people about too. Like, I'm a business coach, right? I work with business people all day, you know, throughout the weekend, throughout the week, and you've got to have something that you can do to, you know, that isn't work. That's something just you don't have to think about too much. And that's one of the reasons why I garden. You have to think about it, but you also, it's a nice distraction from your other work that you have. You know what I mean? And that's what I really like about it. Really, really just enjoy it. So again, these are my tomatoes. This is the last of the tomatoes we have. I got my nice little collection here. Some of them aren't quite right where I'd like to have them, but because my wife got all of those tomatoes in, I didn't want to just do you know, six jars like that. That isn't something I really want to do. I want to make sure that I had a decent amount. You know, if you're going to spend the time and get all this energy out there, might as well make it worth your time. So, you know, I went and grabbed a few of mine that I have, which that takes care of what I'll have for the rest of the year, at least for canning. What I have left out in the garden, that direction, will as it matures over the next couple of weeks, it'll just be for salads and things like that, or whatever. Which there is still plenty. All right, just waiting for this to get back to boiling so I can get those skins off. So hopefully, if this is your first time on the stream, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Typically, I haven't really done much streaming this summer. Summertime in the garden is basically, here's water, let me pick some leaves off, or here's this other stuff, or I don't necessarily. So that's why you haven't necessarily seen me on here for that. Starting now, we're getting into the fall season, which means I've got all my prep and everything I've been doing from, we're harvest time. Now my harvest isn't all that great, but really you're going to see me is going to be closing down my garden, which if that's something you haven't done before, you're not sure what that process looks like, make sure you subscribe, hit that and hit that notification bell so you know when I go live, because that's typically I'm out there on my phone doing vertical, not necessarily on this thing. So you can just hop on wherever you're at, just watch me while I'm doing it. But yeah, I've got garden prep, basically winter garden prep. I've got my cover crop I got to get down. I'm in northern Michigan, but I'm next to Lake Michigan, so I am in zone 6B for those folks that's the new one. So they've recently updated. Not a big change, but we stay, we're whatever it is, something tropical. I don't know what the name is, but we get really hot weather quite a bit, and it's humid here. So like today, it's September 13th? Yeah, it's the 13th today. It's gonna be 90. It's 90 here today. Let's check on my pups real quick. So it's gonna be 90 today. And but during the summer, I think we had maybe a 6-day stretch where we were in the 80s into the 90s. Actually, a couple days. Actually, we were in the hundreds for a couple of days. But the rest of it, we were in the mid 70s. It's just been a weird year. But my garden did its thing. It got through as best it could. A lot of us struggled this year, but I was able to get some stuff out. It's only my second year with the garden. So all right. So again, for the folks that want to know, again, reminder what we're doing here. So I got my tomatoes. What we're happening here is we're dropping them in some boiling water, and I've got some cooler water in this one. Just refreshed it, cold water in here. I'm gonna push this off here. Kind of secret. Hot water, cold water, cutting board. Cutting board is we're going to be filling this thing up with just the stuff we don't want to use. And that all goes in the compost. And then I'm saving all of the tomato skins because we're going to be putting those into the dehydrator. Okay, that's what we got here, folks. So, and this is the process for now. I've already cleaned all of my jars and sterilized them. They're in the oven currently, just down here. They're waiting on me. So that part's already been done. So, that is what it is. Now the spot here, really all we're doing is, and what the nice part about this, you're giving your tomatoes a little bit of a shock treatment here. It's helping to loosen up the skins. And for these, because these aren't necessarily fully ripe, the skins don't necessarily like to come off on that well. So we're gonna help coax them off a little bit. And when you do it right, like this guy, skins are already popping off. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see, folks. That's what we're here for. There you go. Got them splitting. Perfect. There we go. Skins are splitting. Tomatoes are good spot. All right, so I'm gonna put that here. Put that down below, and then process these ones. Again, I'm just kind of taking my time today. This isn't like the most efficient method for me to do this, but I don't really care. Today is more about hanging out with you guys and just chilling here for a little bit. I haven't been streaming near as much as I wanted to, so it's nice to be back out. So yeah, this fall, on top of getting my new building set up, again, I just bought a building in the next town over. My greenhouse is going to be, I've got a new insulation that I'm going to be putting into my greenhouse. I'm actually got some OSB, which is plywood, and some foam boards. We're going to be going through and making up like this modular system. It seems like I'm over engineering it, but I'm not. It's just so that I can store it in my basement during the summer. That's really it. But it's going to be in 2x4, 2 foot by 4 foot sections that I'm going to be able to bolt into my my greenhouse, my 6x6x16 greenhouse. And each one of them is going to be numbered, so I know which one goes where. So I'm not trying to figure it out as I'm, putting it up. So, and I'm going to walk everybody through that process. I'll probably have a video for that, and it's really I think it's going to be a good solution for me because I do plan on having vegetables in my greenhouse throughout the winter. So I want it insulated, and I want to be able to have, cold weather stuff, the stuff that'll do well in the cold weather. Doesn't need a lot of light, like my lettuce and my spinach, things like that. That'll do great. My Brussels sprouts, they actually did really good this year. And Brussels sprouts and kale, all my brassicas did really, really, really good this year. Well, actually, not all. My cauliflower sucked. Cauliflower was just garbage this year. I don't know why, but it was very sad. So, all right, this is the problem you run into when you get your tomatoes aren't as ripe as you want them to be. The skins don't like to come off. But my dogs just went after something. Hey. Make sure my dogs aren't getting into something they shouldn't be, but they're good. They're protecting me from the blue jays. That's been their latest thing, going after the birds for whatever reason. This guy did not even come on. Some of the skin off, but there we go. I had to coax it. So yeah, if you are going to be doing this, by the way, if you're canning, I highly, 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 highly recommend you guys make sure you've got these nitrile gloves, or, if you need to use latex, whatever it is. I don't care if you got latex, whatever, just have some gloves on. It's a lot of time with these nightshades. It'll get to you after a while. So just make sure you got some gloves, okay? Do yourself a favor. All right, there we go. Man, I am earning on my tomatoes. That's why you only should be canning fully ripened tomatoes. But like I said, I didn't really have enough here with my wife's down payment, and I didn't have enough in my garden really at the current point to be able to can. So I made the decision where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to can what I can out of my garden. That was a terrible joke. Sorry, folks. Can what I can out of my garden, make it work, so I don't have to do any more. I can be done for the season. So, all right. So we're back at it again. I've got my boiling water over here. Gonna put the spurs to it. Make sure it's where it's at. And get my tomatoes in here. So they get these skins off. That is the master plan here. We want these skins gone. Once you have the skins off, do the rest of the processing. So we're really just at the first step. I mean, really, I've got, like I said, all my prep's done. Got the tomatoes doing their thing. Really just kind of getting everything set so that way I can sterilize what I need to as far as the equipment, like the other tools. And there we go. That guy's good. That guy's good. And, make the canning process itself as far as getting everything into the jar as easy as possible. Because I don't really like, that's, if you're going to mess something up, that's where it is. Kind of, if any of you have ever done any beer brewing, it's very similar. You got to do a lot of prep work to be ready to have a successful, successful brewing as far as managing your, what's the phrase I want to use here? Oh, for, God, come on, Ryan, use your words. Basically, make your sanitation. There you go. Make sure. Good Lord, I don't know why that took so long to use that word. For making sure it's a sanitary environment. So you can see here when you got the difference when you got your tomatoes that are a bit more ripe. I mean, look at this. It comes right off. This is all just going to end up in my dehydrator. I'm excited for you. If you haven't done that part of it, man, you should be doing this with your tomatoes all the time. Anytime you got tomatoes, pull those skins off. You don't want to cook them. They don't cook up very well, but they dehydrate great. Turn into delicious. Get that skin off. Nice powder to have. Nice seasoning. Okay. What do we got? All right. Sorry, and my phone talked to me there for a second. Okay. But yeah. And I know a lot of folks when they start their gardens, like this is where they want to get to eventually for canning. And it is intimidating. I understand that. I get it. Just don't let it be. It's really not that difficult. Just you gotta take your time and attention to detail. You'll be just fine. Just fine. Also, if you're not a member of the channel, you're here just hanging out. If you've been a long time member of the channel, or you're stopping by later to watch the the replay of this, you know the drill. We don't worry about stuff here. It's nothing we don't like to do that here. We don't get into gardening. We don't have this stuff to worry. We do this because we enjoy it, and we want to provide delicious nutrients to our families. Right? That's why we do this stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that guy hang out for a little bit, and I'm just gonna process these. And again, this is just a rough dicing. We're not looking for anything too crazy here. Okay? We don't want this in too small of pieces. I'm gonna move this a little closer. I don't want to block all the goodness here. Right? We don't want this to be in too thin of pieces. Like that's the spot. I just want to keep in mind. And the reason for that is this is going to be getting boiled for 45 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. So, I mean, it's almost an hour because of how long it's going to take the water to get full up the temperature and everything. And we want it to make sure it holds up. It's able to hold up during that process. So we do not want to over process the tomatoes. Like that's the idea. Don't over process them. Nice and rough. There's a joke in there somewhere for a less family friendly stream like I have here. Now, the one thing I did do, and I'm excited for next year as well, is that I did do some on my garden. I was practicing and trying some different stuff in different areas. And one thing I did in my tomatoes is after I terminated my cover crop, which you can watch a video on that if you want to go check it out on terminating cover crop, I put down just on my tomatoes an inch of compost, like an inch deep of compost after I had planted my tomatoes. So I got my tomatoes, which were started in the greenhouse, right? They're living their best life. We got them in the ground on our trellis system, which there's plenty of videos on that if you want to go check that out. And then I put a bunch of compost down, which was great because what ended up happening is I didn't have any weed pressure at all, like none, zero weed pressure in my tomatoes this year. I don't honestly think I even saw a single crabgrass or anything even try to set up in there. It was pretty desolate in there, and I'll take that considering last year was pretty rough. It was a new garden, so it was I'm dealing with 100 years worth of weed seeds that were in the soil that I had to get rid of. So that was pretty crazy. Yeah, my daughter Michaela lives out in California. She's currently putting grass in her yard, and she's going through the process. If you've ever done a yard before, you know the drill. Weeds after you've done all your hard work, and then all those weed seeds that are there, because you can't really. It's not like you can tarp your entire garden, your entire yard, and get all those weed seeds to germinate. So you have to go through the process of getting them to germinate, killing them all off. So she's going through that right now as a first time really in her yard, and she's been living through that distress. Had to talk her down the other day about what to do and how to handle that. So felt bad for her, but hey, welcome to team yard maintainer, right? Okay, so we're getting close to having all these tomatoes processed here. So that's a good thing. I'm excited about that. Let's get this. Yeah, pretty much got. Oh yeah, we're gonna be able to get everybody done in this one pot. That's gonna be great. So that's a good news story, right? So many tomatoes. This is awesome. So I had in my garden 48 tomato plants this year, and I made some, and I wanted to test some stuff out to see how it would do, and they all did work kind of like I expected them to. Everything did what I thought it would, which is whatever. So I'm still working through some of that stuff. I've pretty much I've got a good idea what I need to do going forward to get my tomatoes to be successful over here. But yeah, the rest of the year is going to be great. They're going to be in a really good spot. I'm excited. So these guys are good. I tell you what, I am really excited for is I'm getting these tomato skins in the dehydrator. I might do a short for that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Hard to say. Let me just let those guys go. No, we're gonna get them out. Okay. I almost reached in the hot water. So I'm going too fast. Gotta slow down. Ryan does not need to have second-degree burns today. Do not need second-degree burns today. Not have that happen. Okay. You okay over there, Bonnie? Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just in preparation, I want to clear this thing out, and then we're going to be sanitizing some of my stuff. Like that's next on the list here. Get this back up to boiling after I get this done. We're just going to sanitize a couple things. Okay, cool. We got to put the sponge to it. And the things we're sanitizing are pretty straightforward. There you go. Things we'll be sanitizing are going to be my scoop and then the funnel that we have. I want to make sure that those are good and safe before, last line of defense before it's going in the canner. Now with that, yeah, you want to sand, and that's just to really just do your due diligence. Am I really worried about anything getting in there? No, I'm not. It's not something to worry about. Not at all. To be brutally honest, nothing to worry about. But you want to take every chance you can, follow every step to mitigate the possibility of having any sort of spoilage or any sort of yuckness show up in here. Let me let you guys kind of see what I'm doing here. So you can see we're just getting the skins right off there. But this is why we follow the steps. So it's really important that you follow the steps, right? Super important. Each one of these steps exists to make sure that do everything you can to make sure that you do not end up with a spoiled batch of tomatoes, right? Canned tomatoes. Went through all this work, right? It's not skimping. It's not be a wimp. It's not follow the rules for the last bit and ruin all the work you did. Okay. Important. All right, just about there. Last little bit. Now these beefsteak tomatoes that I got, I am going to get these next year. I'm not going to have these for canning though. That I can tell you. I just grabbed these because I need a little bit more for canning purposes. They're terrible for canning. Like they're just god awful for canning. But when they are fully ripe, holy crap, are they delicious. Like they are so sweet. It's when you fully understand why they are a fruit. Like you get it. You're like, man, these are delicious. So they are on my list for next year for sure. And I've got my 3 canning varieties of tomatoes will be here today for seeds. So I already got those kind of planned out. I'm only a few months away from starting some plants. Like I'm going to be starting plants in January, February. We'll have lights going, the whole deal. So, all right, we're towards the last bit here where I'm just finishing the processing on my last few tomatoes here. Again, the processing piece is, super long, super important, but you know, it's got to go to work. And the big thing that we're doing right now is we're taking all of these skins off of our tomatoes, and we're saving those. Before we go on to the next anything else, I'm going to break out my dehydrator. We're going to set that up. Look over this area here, and I'm going to have my we're going to be dehydrating the tomato skins. If you haven't done that, you're missing out because you can make a really good, delicious. You throw it in the grinder, makes a really great seasoning. Just a little tomato, powdered tomato, really good stuff. Chicken, you name it, just throw it on there. Yum. Nice and light. Okay. Oh man. And one of the reasons that I do these live too, this is the thing that for a lot of folks that they don't get is, you know, we do this stuff live. It's important because I want people to, and just like when I do my my compost piles, I always do those live, where I record it so folks understand like how long it takes to do these things right. If you can get through it, but if you want to do it correct, there's a, you know, it takes a certain amount of time. All right, I need to move this guy up here a little bit. Okay, there's that guy. And, but you know, so like with this, the reason that we're even going live while I'm canning here is folks know how long this takes. You know, I'm into hour 2 now, so it's been an hour and 10 minutes or so, and that didn't even include the 20 minutes of prep time. Actually, more than that, about a half hour to 40 minutes of prep time for all of my cans to get those, you know, to get them out, clean them, wipe them down, put them in the, you know, get them stacked in the oven safely, oven preheated, run them through that thing. You know, everything's sanitized down here. You know, it takes. Look at these. Now, this is beefsteak. Look. I do love these beefsteak tomatoes. Look how pretty that is. When these things are fully ripe, like I said, I'm canning them, so they've got to be done a little bit early. I mean, they are the sweetest, just delicious. Love them. Like collectively, like as a family, my wife and I are just like, these are so good. But anyways, the reason we're doing this live is I want folks to be able to hop on here if they have questions. By all means, please ask. Obviously, that's why I'm live. But also, just man, make sure that if you have questions, just ask. But I want to be able to people to see that this takes time. It's an investment. You know, it's not something you can do lightly. So you finish this up, this last bit, and then I'm gonna check a couple things because something seems a bit off right now. I'm just looking at this. Want to make sure things are good. So yeah, again, if this is your first time on the stream, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. My name's Ryan. I'm a business coach. I work in West Michigan, but and that's where a lot of my stuff on my stream. So if you're like, man, I see you typically doing like business stuff. I mean, that's right, you do. But this is my hobby. This is what I do. Not hobby, but I also feed my family with a lot of my garden. So that is. I also like to have some of this stuff up on the stream as well too. So good to have you on here. Yeah, and if you have questions or anything, you know, just throw it in the chat. You're more than welcome to hop on and throw any questions in the chat while you're watching. But this is the labor of love that I had for this year as far as getting these tomatoes. This is my second round of canning. It's actually earlier than I planned, so a little bit earlier than I planned on doing, which is fine. My wife got some tomatoes as a down payment for her cleaning job, which is, I mean, that's about as Midwest as you can get. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'll get this off here. I want to check a couple things. You can see here's what we ended up with the tomatoes, which we'll be canning in here in a second. I want to check something real quick. That's on. And sorry, I'm just checking a couple things here. I apologize. More. Whoop, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. And I apologize for this extremely boring stream right now. I know you probably didn't get on here just to stare at this dude's face. Gain control. Let's do that. Why not? Not going to disable. Standard. Okay, and we'll just see how that looks. Okay, I just wanted to adjust a couple things there. Make sure this was doing some stuff. Okay, all right. So this guy is now getting to temperature, so that's cool. So we are getting these guys in here. Gonna let them sit in there for a bit. I don't need it like super boiling, but we want to make sure that this guy, all the surfaces are going to have time to be in contact with boiling water. I've turned it off. I don't want it to be, I'm not trying to, melt or cook it, but it's enough where it's to temperature. Get the heat. It's an important spot. Kind of clean up a little bit. Got the leftovers for my compost. That can go here. So next thing, it's a little bit crazy here. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to towel him off. So I've got sterilized can't, basically my jars are down below. I'm going to be bringing them up. So I'm going to be boiling some water here just a little bit. And the reason I'm doing that's going to go in for these guys right here. These are my lids. Okay. And what you want to do is obviously they need to be sterilized. So they're going to get hit with give it some hot water, not boiling water, but it'll be boiling and it'll be below boiling when it hits here. It's enough to sterilize it. But what we want to do is when you get for these lids, before you want to warm them up with that warm water. So these gaskets are good. Now with this, as with everything, I've already inspected my jars. So I got some jars down here just to show you what you want to be doing before you do anything with your jars, right? Is you're gonna be expecting to make sure they're clean. Always give them a once over. Now I'm not using these. These are just some leftover ones. If I need more, I'll have them. Gonna give them a look over, make sure everything's good. Along the rim here, you're looking to see if there's any chips or cracks or anything that could mess with the safety wise, right? So don't do this. There's other ways you can do it, but just keep an eye on it. When you're dealing with your lids, you want to be looking at those as well. Now, hear that noise? Like that's a good one spot, but you're really inspecting the gasket. You want a nice, clean gasket that doesn't look like it's got no cracks, doesn't look like it's dry rotted or anything. Yeah, that's what you're looking for. Then what you're going to do, like in my case, is we put these jars down here. Put them in the oven. You're going to pop them out here in a second. Show you as I fill them here. They went into a 275-degree oven for 10 minutes. I just killed the heat, and they've just been in there just chilling, waiting on me to process all this tomato. One other thing you got to have is this right here. Lemon juice, the juice of lemons. Every time that you fill one up, I'm going to fill up like a stack of them here, and then you're going to get a good squeeze down the line to bring the acidity up to help fend off any yuppies that might be in there. I'm not putting any salt in there. I'm not worried about that, which is one thing you can do. But I just like to go ahead with the lemon. Just a little bit of lemon juice. It doesn't do anything. You can use vinegar if you like some apple cider vinegar. That's fine. It's not a problem. All right, so got my water. It's kind of doing a boil. Swoosh it around a little bit. All right, and we're just going to cover these. They're all covered. All right, and that's going to do is get all the lids nice and soft for us, just like you like. Okay, now for fun time. Let's guy here is good. Here. So those have been sanitized. This guy can now. Hey, don't be dumb. Oh, I got a lot of dishes to do here in a little bit. Okay, so we are going to set this here. So there's water in there. I kind of already did like a pre-boil on this. It's some water. It's not necessarily that hot. So what we're going to be doing is bringing out the jars, filling them up, and then setting them over. All right, real quick. I just want to check something. As always. I think we're all good here. Okay. This is. You guys okay? Nope, you're fine, buddy. All right, guys. Okay. About time to get to it, folks. It's about that time. I don't believe this anymore. Frankly, I just don't really want to be dealing with the tomatoes if I can help it. Nice. Okay. So we're going to start here. And okay. So again, these guys have already been sterilized. They're cooled down. I'm not, it's not like they've been cooled down plenty. But I'm excited about it. Look at all those skin. We're going to do a short on these. I think that's going to be great. Okay. So here's the deal again. We're going to set up our jars and kind of see what's going on here, right? I may actually have you do this way just a little bit. There we go. All right, so here's the deal. It's pretty straightforward. We're just going to fill it. And I'm going to get some more water going in here. Boil up some water. Now I have well water, so I have to make sure that it's in a good spot. So we're just going to boil this up and get it nice and hot. Top them all off. And really, this is what it looks like, folks. We're canning, everybody. Isn't that exciting? Gosh, this is exciting. And really, you're going to want to make sure that you get a good amount of it in there. Take your time. No need to rush. You've done all the prep. Everything's where it needs to be. Just load it up. Load it up with these maters. Now, this is going to be, so with these quart jars, obviously, there's a lot of tomatoes, but this is going to be for chili. These are my diced chili ones. Okay, just get those in there. Now, what you're looking to do, here's the thing. You don't want to fill up too much past the neck. So, what you're looking for, that's a good amount right there. And you've got to leave some space because there's going to be magic happening. Now you're just going to repeat this a whole bunch of times. Just what I did. Now, obviously, this is just tomatoes we're doing. You could do this with anything, with a lot of stuff. Now, there's an entire list, and you want to look at each one of your jars and each one of the, whatever you're using. It'll tell you which ones can be done using the boiling method, which is what we're going to be doing. I'm just going to fill this bad boy up with water. It's already got some in there. We're going to get the cans in, get the rest, and we're just going to boil these for this. We're going to do 45 minutes because I've got some bigger the bigger ones here. It takes a little bit longer for the heat to get in. It's not going to hurt the smaller guys to spend a little extra time getting some heat. But I might be able to get most of this in here. But again, this is for chili. This is going to be, you know, the ones I'm going to be grabbing for chili this winter, like right off the bat. I might even do chili tonight, to be honest. I got plenty of tomatoes out there. And all this talk about chili's got me thinking about chili. So I was saying, if you really want to learn about this, about how to do canning and do it the, you know, I'm gonna say the right way, but in a really good way. Diane was Devereaux. I think it's Devereaux. I can't remember her last name though. But she's the canning diva. That's who you want to get in touch with. She is the definitive authority as far as I'm concerned on how to can. That she's who we should all aspire to be, just like her. Her stuff is dope. She knows what she's doing. She's gonna make sure that she's gonna make sure give you advice that's gonna keep you safe. All the stuff, right? All the stuff. Now, one thing I do want you to keep in mind, even if you are so when you're done with your jars, right, you're gonna clean them, wash them, and then you're gonna put them back away after, you know, I pop these. Even if you washed them last year and you sealed them up and you're good, you always rewash and always rewash before sanitizing. It's one of the things. Never trust that you are actually good at your work. Like that's what I tell folks. Just don't trust that you're any good at what you're doing. Always want to second guess yourself. Push these guys down a little bit more. Okay. Cool. We're gonna get these guys down, and then we're gonna top everybody off. We're going. So you can see we are kind of got blocking the view here. Sorry. So I'll come a little closer for this one. You guys can see this. So we have been canning for a minute here. You can tell. We're kind of on our last bits. I'm going to get all that work for 5 quarts of tomatoes. This is one of the reasons why, you know, people typically can larger amounts. You can kind of get it done quickly. That's boiling. That's good. But I guess I probably could have just done the math here and realized I had a 5 quart thing over here. Oh, Ryan, what are we going to do here? I guess it should be enough. Yeah. You know, for here and maybe one other can. We're gonna get these guys full. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay. That guy. And there's no reason to like force the issue. You don't want to overfill your canning just to think that you're okay. I can get a couple more. I think I'm really just kind of forcing the issue here. Okay, all right, we'll call that good. Wait, you can wait right here. Good. All right, so next up, clean. All right, we're gonna make sure this is nice and clean. I'm gonna do something different. I don't know what I do. I don't really trust that. Do this a nice wipe, very nice wipe to get a good seal, right? Lemon juice. Give them a good squeeze. Good squeeze. Good squeeze. Good squeeze. Good squeeze. That's it. And now we're going to top off with the water that we had. Right up to the neck. Right up to the neck. Same thing here. Right up to the neck. There we go. Now with those, got the redhead home. Hey, I'm streaming pretty stuff. So got those lids right that we got all set. They're here. Figured I might as well, since I'm going through the whole process of canning, I might as well just get a video out, right? True that, yo. Okay. You know, we're gonna throw these guys on. These up. They're set. I'm gonna stop right here once I get it set in. All right, and then we're just gonna add the lids to them. The goal here is finger tight. Pups have just been outside chilling. It's been pretty funny. Like laying out, just like, oh. All right, yeah, just dropping them in here. Got these 5. Again, finger tight. What you want to make sure is those aren't touching. All right. So I'm just going to repeat the process, and these are going to basically, once they start boiling, they're going to go for 45 minutes. And that's it, folks. Appreciate you stopping by. Take care. See you next time.